Well, probably a big song.
You want to ask if he's iPhone 8? Jeff.
Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Agenda Review, looking at agenda for Wednesday, May 14th. Commissioner Blueba, I believe that you're on. It's not coming up populating a name, but I do believe that's your iPhone that we see on there. And I think Commissioner Meitzer might try to join us as well, but we have three commissioners here to go through Agenda Review. Manager Stoltz, take it away.
Yes, good morning, Chairman and Commission.
Okay, great.
Tanya, are you going to do good news or?
For next week, Nicole will be talking about the budget simulator for county news. That's the only thing.
The only other thing I'll mention right at this point is we received the table from Heights High School, which we talked about a couple of weeks ago. We were going to do a kind of a discussion about that, but we're going to table that till June 4th because this is a pretty busy meeting. So just FYI, that is going to come in front of the commission, but it'll be 1st of June. For the agenda for this go around, we have, again, still May, so we have a lot of proclamations. We have 4, end of the Stigma Day, then 3 that are directly in the wheelhouse of the county, Law Week, EMS Week, and National Public Works Week. So we'll do those proclamations. And at the beginning, we have 2 Access Advisory Board appointments, one from Commissioner Meitzer, one from Commissioner Blueba. And we have several items of new business. Item H and I, we are hustling on this. This is items that came from the en banc where we wanted the resolution done, standing up the Addiction Intervention Coalition, the Opioid Money Disbursement Group. That's IH, and then I is the appointees to that. Bob and I have traded, Bob Layton and I have traded emails a couple of times. We're very close on a list of 11. And I think that Justin is in consultation with Jennifer Magana on getting the resolution for item H stood up. This is a work in progress. It will probably be on, but we may have to pull it if the city doesn't respond quickly enough to what we're trying to get done today. So, and if it doesn't get on for next week, then it'll be June 4 for us. Just anything else on that?
I think that's all correct, Tom. I would add that if for some reason something would change on the city's version, you could have it on there and we could come back with a slightly amended version on Wednesday to present to the board. That would still be an option. Again, we hope to hear back from the city shortly on some of those things.
I think you ought to leave it on there. And again, I expect some debate on that and maybe an opportunity if they don't get ahead of this, maybe some commentary, and we could even maybe not adopt it at this meeting, but push it off potentially with commentary. So I guess give us options.
I'll leave it on.
So you leave it on, I guess, at least creates the discussion.
Okay.
And I am curious about the 11. Is it going to be 15 in the end?
We're looking at 11 right now, 11 citizens, and then a commissioner and a council person ex officio. So a total of 11 voting board members.
So the idea of 15, that's not.
I think we said 11 to 15, and I think we're settling in on 11.
And those 11, you said they're citizens? What did you say?
Yeah, a variety of citizens from a lot of them are in this type of industry, substance abuse rehabilitation.
That's a concern of mine. Again, I look at the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Coalition experience. Are these people in the industry of providing services, so potentially going to be a provider once this thing gets going?
It's possible, but we discussed that at the en banc, and if that is true, if they are actually putting in or applying for money, then they cannot vote. They have to remove themselves from that process of voting.
When you talk about conflict of interest, though, they shouldn't be part of the conversation either. I can say, look, I can sell my ideas and get you all to agree with me through lots of debate and then back off and not vote for it. And then they can claim we don't have a conflict of interest, but you cause the policy to be in a status whereby you might benefit from that. So conflict of interest, if you plan on being a provider, you probably shouldn't even be part of the conversation. Let somebody else lead on that. So I guess I'm concerned about just the non-voting piece, whereas that's not enough for me. Yeah. Conflict of interest is greater than that.
Is that, if I could interject, I mean, they're just giving a recommendation to us who are going to make the vote. I mean, Is that correct? Am I assuming this is
You
they're
have to-
formulating a recommendation and then we are the ones who make the decision on amending it or voting for it or approving it or declining it or?
That's correct, Chairman. And I don't know if you or Commissioner Howard want, Armand in our office has worked on, and again, it's in draft format, but I believe there has been some consideration of some of the conflict of interest matters that Commissioner Howell's asking about. If you'd like to talk more either now or offline, I think we'd be happy to discuss that with
Yeah,
you.
let's
as well.
vet that out a little bit. I mean, it's a reasonable discussion.
You know, it's a liquor tax had the same challenge. You try to put people on this board that have a knowledge of this matter. And when you put people on that have a knowledge of the matter, that clearly they're running operations or may apply for some of this money. The alternative is to put people on that have no knowledge of the matter. And then that way you don't have, you're clear of conflict. So I understand the challenge here, but as long as we have language in that avoids that conflict as best we can, I feel comfortable with that.
Well, let me go on and say, again, I know we didn't actually vote at the en banc meeting, although I think we could have. But I think we presumed that we had consensus, but there was discussion. And I don't think there was unanimous consent or unanimous agreement that this was the best and only idea. There were other ideas out there. And since we didn't actually have a motion, I feel like we're moving forward with a specific plan that came out of the en banc meeting, but I don't know that everybody agrees that this is the best plan. So yeah, we don't really know what the status is of city and county's opinion on this plan. So we're going to present this plan like it's the way we're going, but I think there's other ideas out there that I think are going to make this more difficult than maybe some of y'all think it needs to be, but I don't know that I agree with this at this point. So
Understood. Item J and K are solid waste items. J is the plan. K is the fees that you will hear and potentially adopt. Item L, we're going to pull. There's more discussion that has to happen under that topic. We'll bring that back in the future when it's been vetted. Item N is a real estate purchase agreement for a purchase agreement for Envision 610 North Main that we'll bring forward to the public. Item N is Hope presenting her annual comprehensive financial report. And then O is bid board. And we have 5 bid board items. Item 1 is 4 3/4 ton pickups for Public Works. Item 2 is pest control services for a variety of departments around the county. 3 and 4 are IT requests. 3 is a various hardware, software solutions. I don't have anybody from IT here today to talk on this. And item 4 is a Relias software renewal for aging. And then item 5 is a radio consultant for emergency communications, which the commission approved this consultant in last year's budget. So this is the hiring, and it will be the person, or it'll be the entity that will come on and give us an update, and Rusty can talk on that if there's questions on our emergency communications operations. Questions on any bid board items? That takes us to consent agenda. Mark was just here yesterday talking about the noxious weed contract with the state of Kansas, and that is item P. Q and R are grant applications, and Lynn can talk to this if there's questions. Grant applications for bridge projects. First item Q is 884,000, or yeah, 884,000, and from the off-system bridge program for a bridge that is the single bridge between Cheney City and 254. And then item R is grant application in the amount of a little over 705,000 for a bridge, again in District 3 at 215th West and Central, a little bit north of there.
Hey, can you remind Lynn, when you say grant application, what is the terms of the grant?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Grant application, these are grants.
Mhm.
What is it? Is there a match on our part? Is this KDOT?
Let me cover that real quickly, Lynn, and then it's if you don't have it in front of you, but under item R, there is a match, and it was a cash match of 113,000. And then there's other, so it's a $705,000 grant application. it's a total project of $1,064,000. So cash from us would be $113,803,000. And then there's other funding that's listed as 245. Is that other public works funding, or Lynn, do you know that one?
Yes. So on item R, and both actually Q and R for both these grant applications, the work to get right away, design of plans, utility relocation are not included. These are construction grants. So in item R, it is an 80-20 split on the construction and construction engineering. And on item Q, which is the off-system bridge, that is a 100% construction grant application for the entire cost of construction and construction engineering. However, again, outside of that scope is the right of way, the design of the different utilities. They're typical.
On item Q, it says federal FY27. What exactly does that mean?
So basically, for the terms of how we use that, that means it's going to be the federal year 2027.
Understood. Okay. It's a good one. Thanks. Other questions on these two? This is you guys' districts and you probably know it well. Okay, thanks.
Okay. Item S is Coleman parking lot rental. That I'm going to have Tanya talk just a little bit about this. Kind of a big deal, even though it's on consent. So Tanya, can you kind of cover this real quick?
So commissioners, I wanted to talk a little bit about this. So we are being asked by Somewhere Fest 2025. So you've probably heard about last year it was Elsewhere Fest. This is put on by the Wave and Chase Coke. They came to us and asked us to have the Coleman parking lot for a total of a week. Somewhere Fest is expected to bring in about 6,500 to 7,000 for this 2-day festival. It's an art and music fest. They're actually asking to have the Coleman parking lot again for a week. But what they're doing at the Coleman parking lot is basically a food and drink fest for those 2 days. Their expectation on the 2 days is that at max, they'll probably have about 2,400 for this parking lot on those 2 days. The reason for the week ask is they want to be able to set up. They're putting porta potties on the lot, photo booth, a dumpster, and then they're expected to have, I think, 12 food trucks and then 2 bars. We have worked with them and the sheriff's office, the fire department, and EMS as well. They will have a first aid station there and 2 water stations, and then they'll have four sheriff's deputies on the Coleman parking lot, along with 4 private security that will be at the entrances, 2 roamers, and then 1 special security that will be on site. And then just some information on the actual event. 2 big headliners. One will be hip hop, Big X the Plug. And then we'll see Tim at this one. Dead Mouse, they are EDM. So that will be on for you. And then they'll have several street closures that they're working with the city on. And so again, those dates will be June 13th and 14th. So I'm happy to answer any questions on that. We are charging $850 for that, and that includes $650 for usage and then $200 for attendance. So in total, that's $850. And then we'll have a deposit on that. They have provided insurance that covers our lot. So
You have to clean anything up?
they will clean it up.
Were you speaking English when you said dead mouse and big X the plug?
That-
Was that English?
That is.
Commissioner Howe's like, we were waiting for
Why did we talk
Metallica and Led Zeppelin, you know.
Yeah, and we'll get pictures of Tim at Dead Mouse.
He'll be there.
This is going to be like 1 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Those events will be from 4 p.m. to midnight on both of those days.
It's a weekend.
Yeah, Friday and Saturday.
A big deal last year. It was
Mhm.
quite an event last year. This place was packed. So downtown.
We anticipate that'll grow.
It
in the
is.
future.
Yeah. I'm texting with Marquise right now. They're expecting a big deal.
They had, we put it in the backup too. You might just look, they have a really nice plan on all of their sheets. So if you have some time, you might want to check it.
Can you get me a dead mouse t-shirt?
Do it, please.
Thank you.
Item S is the last non-routine business on the agenda. I'm sorry, item T. This is a resolution the usual resolution to delegate authority in furtherance of the acquisition of real property to give Tanya, Tim, or I authority to sign on the envision. acquisition moving forward. The rest of this, I think, is routine plats this week. I don't think we have a plat we're going to pull. So I think it's normal plat. Regular business, that's that. And I don't think we have executive session. So, but it is a busy Wednesday. I think we have some budget hearings that day, and I think you guys have an obligation in the afternoon. So we're going to try to keep moving.
We're moving the schedule around and try to accommodate that. Anything?
Not that it needs to be on this one necessarily, but we were going to add a budget discussion to each agenda. Is that starting this one or a future
I
one?
think after we are completed with your agenda review, that's a good question, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Good. Yeah, that's good.
We typically start that in June.
Okay. And then we have budget hearings this afternoon, starting at 1 again.
We do.
Really? Love it. Okay. Anybody have any of the electeds here? So, okay, I think we're good.
All right.
See you at 1 o'clock back in this room.